A Napa guy knows the only way you'd give a freshly minted driver a brand new car is if he promises to never drive it. Instead, let him grind the gears and knock over the neighbor's mailbox in something a little more suited to his skill level. And with over 400,000 parts and a little Napa know-how, he can safely drive something that's nearly as old as he is. It's not perfect, but it's perfect for him. That's Napa know-how.
Blog Talk Radio.
Well, good evening, folks, and thank you for tuning in with me once again for another edition of True Conservative Radio. Of course, I'm your host, the man they call Ghost, and I want to thank you once again for tuning in with me. I'm hoping that we don't have too much technical difficulties here on this broadcast. I seem to find a lot of convenient technical difficulties have been happening during my show. I don't know if it's because Blog Talk Radio just doesn't know their ass from their elbows, or they're trying to silence me because I'm not keeping up with the status quo around here. I really don't give a damn what it is, but I refuse to be silenced out here because, of course, I continue to try to listen to everybody on the Internet, whether it's the Blog Talk Radio Network or people in the blogosphere or just a bunch of nimrods with websites. I try to go out there and get a decent perspective on what people are thinking out there, and the bottom line is, folks, is they're not thinking. And that's why I continue to come up here. I take time out of my life to come up here and try to provide discourse. I'm not telling people what to do. You know, that's what I don't like about folks on the Internet, you know. They think they can utilize mediums such as this one and in the blogosphere and others to try to dictate to people how to think. And you see, folks, I want everybody to know, first and foremost, I never tell anybody how to think. All I'm trying to do is to convey some subject matter so we can have some discourse on them. You know, spark some synapses in people's brains out there. Because I'm telling you, I'm here in America, I'm here in Texas, and I just, as you folks know, we just recently had our primaries / caucuses out here. And every Nimrod voting in the Democratic primary or caucus was voting for the absolute wrong reasons. You know, absolute wrong reasons. And that's why I say, folks, that's why I come here in hopes of trying to facilitate debates. Now, I pray and I hope that this Blog Talk Radio Network doesn't screw up with a bunch of technical difficulties. Because, of course, I've had a bunch, folks, and if you've been keeping up with the show, I've even cut shows short. Because I've had so much technical difficulties with this ridiculous medium out here. And I don't know whether it's because I'm not keeping up with the status quo, or it's because Blog Talk Radio Network doesn't know their asses from their elbow. And I've said before, folks, if I was that fat, balding piece of trash that wannabe excuse for a Republican mouthpiece, Ed Morrissey, I'm willing to bet cash money that I wouldn't have the amount of technical difficulties that I'm having right now if I were that fat piece of crap. And if we happen to have any kind of technical difficulties this evening, folks, I apologize. I'm sorry. That is beyond my control out here. Please forward all of your complaints on the technical difficulties right to the Blog Talk Radio Network, because they deserve it. And I can see right now, it looks like I am kind of having technical difficulties once again. But what else is new, folks? What else is new? I'm seeing people trying to come in and come out of the chat room, and the only reason they do that is because they're not getting a damn live broadcast. So, folks, if you've attempted to try to hear me on a live basis out here and you couldn't do it, please, if you're hearing me on the archive, please email these pieces of trash out there at the Blog Talk Radio Network, because they're not doing their damn jobs. All right? I mean, they're not doing their damn jobs. Everybody who's out here is providing content for these people so they can sell their advertising. And what do they do to the host? Oh, hey, here's a 50-cent royalty check for you. There you go. Like I said, folks, if I was that fat piece of crap that poor excuse of a Republican mouthpiece, Ed Morrissey, which happens to be the sacred cow around these parts, I bet you money I wouldn't have the amount of technical difficulties. All right? I bet you I would not have the amount of technical difficulties that I've had on the past previous shows. And let me tell you something, BTR, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should be damn ashamed of yourself. And before we move on to the agenda at hand this evening, I just wanted to take a couple of more minutes to vent about my absolute disgust with the type of technical difficulties that I've had on each and every show, folks. It's disgusting. Don't you think it's rather coincidental, folks? Don't you think it's rather coincidental? I mean, I hear countless shows on here. I mean, there was a show on the Blog Talk Radio Network called My Crotch is Burning. I kid you not. And was there any technical difficulties on that ridiculous excuse for a show? Absolutely not. And this is why the Blog Talk Radio Network is chapping my ass. They need to stop with the damn technical difficulties out here. I think it's purposely done with all due respect, in my view, because like I say, if I was some mouthpiece like that fat piece of balding trash, Ed Morrissey, I wouldn't have any technical difficulties. And if you have technical difficulties this evening, folks, with this broadcast, please forward all of the disrespected messages right to the Blog Talk Radio Network because they deserve it. But anyway, folks, I'm going to go ahead and drop my venting about the lack of technical support on the Blog Talk Radio Network, and we're going to get to the agenda at hand here today, folks. And what is the agenda? Well, the agenda is today is International Women's Day. Oh, everybody, let's go ahead and bow down now, right? I don't know, between you and me, folks, I've never heard of an International Men's Day. Not that we want one or we should need one, but what in the blue hell is this International Women's Day crap? And we're going to get into a little detail about it. All of you folks that have been listening to me on a consistent basis know that I'm an anti-feminist. I think the feminist movement has basically ruined Western society. I'm not specifically gearing it towards American society anymore because the feminist movement it's just ruined westernized nations. You take a look in Australia, and I've said it and I'll continue to say it, 70% divorce rate out there. 70% divorce rate out there in Germany. I mean, you look at the divorce rate out here in these westernized nations, folks, it's just absolutely absurd, and you can credit all that to the feminist movement. And we're going to talk about that in intense detail today on International Women's Day. And I'd like for you to partake in the conversation, too. If you happen to be a female that takes offense to this, well, come on, give me a call. I'd like for you to provide some substance to this. Go ahead. 646-652-4869 is the number to call. But, folks, the bottom line is feminism, okay? Feminism is authoritarian communism, folks, all right? The only difference is they're utilizing the methods of agitation that is political correctness to play on the psyche of every westernized nation out here. Now, every time I attempt to approach this subject matter and provide discourse and debate on it, of course, I have all kinds of people calling me up, calling me some sort of male chauvinist, misogynist, like I'm some ridiculous wife beater. And that's not the case, folks. I've been married for a very, very long time, okay? I've raised children, I've got grandchildren, and it has nothing to do with being a damn wife beater. It just has something to do with caring about the damn family unit. That's what it comes down to. I mean, we need to save the family, folks. And that's why I come up on here, because the family is becoming extinct. We are seeing a prevalence in not only the American society, but in every westernized society, we are seeing a prevalence of divorces and single-parent families. Okay? And I just don't understand why nobody else is talking about these subject matters except for me and maybe a few other people. Not on the Blog Talk Radio Network, of course, but across the Internet. Now, you want to know why these subject matters aren't being approached in any kind of discourse or any type of debate? Because the feminist movement, that's why. The feminist movement made it not okay to discuss these subject matters. You notice how it's either the woman's way or no way? And I'm not talking, I'm not talking from some bitter old man or something, okay? I'm just saying how it is. I'm a realist, folks, okay? Haven't you noticed that a woman can get up on a public forum, no matter what westernized country they're in, they can get on a public forum and say, oh, you know what, women are better than men. And everybody, men and women, will applaud. Oh, yeah. Woo! I mean, they'll applaud. Everybody will jump up for joy. But have a man get up there and say men are better than women, he'd get booed off the stage with a tomato in his eye socket. And he'd probably have some of the males in that audience try to pick a fight with him just to win brownie points with the feminists in the damn audience, folks. You see, I mean, this is what I'm talking about out here. I mean, the feminist movement has equated woman liberation with all kinds of nefarious subject matters. And we're going to get to those this evening. For you folks that have been listening to me on a consistent basis, you probably pretty well know my stance on this. But we need to discuss it on a consistent basis. I mean, it needs to be brought up over and over and over again. Because if we don't, us as American folks, us as westernized people, we're going to let dumb collateral matters take more precedence than what is the foundation of our society, and that's the family. The family. And let me tell you something, folks. I am a foot soldier for the family. And I used to say I was a foot soldier for the American family. I'd like to be a foot soldier for the world family. I mean, folks, I will debate anybody about the family, whether it's from a religious perspective, which, of course, folks, if you all listen to my program and if you hear me on the archives, I never discuss religion on this program because we're Americans, folks. Our forefathers understood the separation of church and state. We understand out here in America, at least some of us, understand. We understand that we need to separate the spheres of consciousness, one sphere of consciousness for our religious and spirituality, and another sphere of consciousness needs to understand the rule of law, the social structure, what gives us social order. We need to oblige ourselves to that. And you see, folks, I don't care what area you want to debate me in. I will debate you and tell you that the family is the foundation of humanity. Okay? And I'm not just pulling that out of my derriere. There is empirical evidence that states this in the geologic record, in the record of anthropology, in the records of archaeology. There is actual evidence stating that the organizing principle of every budding civilization in early man times was family. So this is natural, folks. Okay, but what's making it not natural anymore is liberalism and feminism. Bottom line, folks, I mean, haven't you noticed that it's always these liberals, okay, that are trying to somehow justify the decimation of the family in westernized nations? Haven't you noticed that they equate what's happening with the American family, what's happening with the westernized family, what's happening with the feminist movement, what's happening to all the social landscapes in civil society? They try to justify that as some sort of social evolution. And that's a bunch of malarkey, and anybody with any type of cognitive reasoning knows it. I mean, bottom line, I mean, all we need to understand, folks, is we need to provide discourse on subject matters that are going to pertain to us as our society, our civilization, our economy, and, of course, all these presidential candidates that are up here right now for supposed presidential seat out here, the most important job in the world. None of these people are talking about any of these subject matters. But the bottom line is, folks, is we need to do something, okay? We need to do something about this feminist movement, folks. It is ruining Western society. Just take a look at the divorce rate, like I alluded to earlier. Take a look at the divorce rate in every westernized country. and notice that they're in the 70 percentile area, with the exception of the United States. And the only reason that the United States is still 50-50 when it comes down to divorce is because there's still a small minority. It's unfortunate that it's a minority, but there's still a prevalence of conservatism out here. I mean, there's still people, males and females, that still believe in the sanctity of marriage. They still believe in raising their children. I mean, that's what life should be about, folks. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. When you have a prevalence of single-parent families out here, those people that are raising children on their own, I mean, what really? I mean, and I'm not talking about, you know, if you happen to have had a partner that passed on or an unfortunate situation of that nature. I'm talking about you getting divorced because either one side or the other or both sides were completely obnoxious and immature when entering into the sanctity of marriage and family. We have a self-centered society out here. I mean, you've got, and this is what I'm talking about, the feminist movement, folks. It goes back to the feminist movement. The feminist movement has equated women liberation with women having 5 or 6 kids from 5 or 6 different fathers. That's equated to woman liberation under the feminist ideology. Having 5 or 6, 7 different divorces is woman liberation according to the feminist ideology. Being a philanderous whorebag, that, I believe it or not, folks, that is woman liberation in the feminist movement. And today, being International Women's Day, we're having a day dedicated to this garbage. And I refuse to acknowledge it. Absolutely not. I spit on International Women's Day. Because why do we need an International Women's Day? Are these people an oppressed minority? Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, they are utilizing methods of agitation to basically suppress the nations that they reside in. I mean, just take a look at public education, for instance, folks. I mean, public education has been infiltrated by a bunch of feminists and ultra-liberals. Go to your nearest elementary school, if you're in America, and try to count how many children are out in the playground playing tag, playing dodgeball, playing any kind of physical activity of that nature. You're not going to see them, folks, because feminism is just implementing an absolute pussified society. It's implementing the absolute pussification, all right, the absolute pussification of America. And what do I mean by that, folks? Well, just take a look around you, all right? Take a look around you here. All right, I mean, you had Gloria Steinem, what was it, earlier this week, and all you folks know I hate that stupid Gloria Steinem bimbo. And, folks, if you happen to know Gloria Steinem's email address, I urge you, please email this show to her and tell her I said a good F-U from me. Because it's her, in my opinion, it is her ideology, her theories, her works that have created the social ills that have become the social norms right here in America. And in every westernized nation, for that matter. Now, you see, folks, most females, whenever I discuss this subject matter, most females, because they have this instinctive feminist rhetoric that's been basically bombarded to them via propaganda, they think that I'm just some sort of a chauvinist bastard. Like I just hate women or something. I don't, man. I don't. I mean, women can have children. I mean, they provide us the greatest gifts that life can give us, is life. I appreciate women. I love women. But I don't love what women have become. I don't love what women are trying to do to our country. And when I say women, I don't mean to generalize all women, folks, because I know that there's women out there that have integrity, that still believe in the sanctity of marriage, that still believe that they need to have a 2-parent family to raise a child. I understand there's folks out there like that, and let me tell you, I appreciate you. I salute you, you females that still oblige yourself to some sort of code of moral ethos. I appreciate you for that, folks. I really do. You should be commended for that. But instead, if you think like that, if you think that there should be sanctity in marriage, that women should have a two-parent family to raise a child, if you say that nowadays, the feminist movement will chastise those women. I mean, I'm serious. So, I mean, this is what I'm talking about, folks. I mean, just take a look around us. Take a look at what this feminist movement has done to our nation in general. If you happen to be somewhere else in the international community, I'm sorry, I don't know. All I know is statistics. That's all I can read about in other nations. I'm not there firsthand to witness and observe the situations happening. All I can do is relay statistics. But if you look at America, take a look at what's happening to us. Take a look at this gender-biased justice system. I mean, you couldn't get any more gender-biased than that. Now, why is it so gender-biased? Well, because the method of agitation utilized by the feminists and the liberals, political correctness, folks, it's infiltrated our bureaucratic system of justice, and that's why most males out here, and I feel for them. They call my show, folks. You can look back in the archive and listen to these poor gentlemen, some of them that have come back from wars, some of them that have served their country, spilt blood for this country. They come back to find out that their wife is getting a high hard-win by the pizza boy. Or they're doing the milkman or the mailman or whatever the case might be. This is what this feminist movement perpetuates, folks. No type of moral ethos. They shove moral ethos down the toilet. They don't care. And what kind of society is that going to represent? Anyway, folks, my point is that a man can come home, find his wife, getting a high hard one from some idiot, okay? The man can, well, first of all, if that happened to me, somebody would no longer be on this earth. And that's all I have to say about that. But that wouldn't happen. It will never happen because my wife is the greatest woman on the face of the planet. That's why I'm with her, and that's why I'll die for her and all that good stuff. I don't mean to get all romantic on here because this is a serious subject matter. But a man could come home, find his wife getting, you get the idea, you get the visualization. And the man can just say, you know what, we're getting a divorce. He leaves, files for divorce, and let's say they have about 2 or 3 children. Who's going to get those children, folks? The woman's going to get the children. Now, why is that? Because of the gender-biased justice system, folks. We are having a system that is creating this environment. And they're equating it with woman liberation, folks. This is a warped mentality. Do you understand? I mean, this whole, woman's lib. Look, I understand that women were oppressed for a long period of time. The suffrage movement at the turn of the 20th century, those females were true patriots. They accorded the woman the right to vote, the right to work. And I give them their due, folks. I do. Everybody knows I do. But I'm talking about these Gloria Steinem pieces of trash that are out here corrupting the minds of females out here, equating becoming a philanderous whorebag with woman liberation, equating 6 or 7 divorces with woman liberation, equating being single and having 6 or 7 kids from 6 or 7 fathers as woman liberation. Well, that's what I'm against, folks. I mean, the whole concept of this feminist movement was supposedly to gain equality. Well, it's unequality at this point. You got a gender-biased justice system. I mean, it's just disgusting, folks. This feminist garbage has turned the social ills into the social norm. And I remember a time, and it wasn't that long ago, folks, when you were shunned if you had a divorce. You were outcasted. I mean, you were outcasted if you had a child out of wedlock. And that wasn't based on any religious principle. That was based on a social, moral ethos established by our society. And I think that it kept most people in line, so to speak. But now, what do you have, folks? What do you have? Turn on the boob tube. All right? Turn on the boob tube. They're trying to sell us this feminist garbage in our television, in our TV shows, in our media. And I'm not gonna palate it, folks. That's why I'm so hated by so many feminists. I get death threats. I get all kinds of personal attacks emailed to me on a consistent basis. And why? Because I'm telling it how it is, folks. That's why. I'm telling it how it is. Now, once again, if you're a female, you don't want to get married, well, don't get married. This is America. Land of the free. Just don't have children, okay? If you're not going to get married, do not have children. And if you think that it's okay to go ahead and have a child, even though you're not married, then you're doing your child a disservice. All right? Because there's going to be something missing, folks. I don't give a damn what anybody tries to argue, okay? The bottom line is the statistics prove that children that come from two-parent families, they don't go to jail as often. All right? They get a little bit better education. I mean, they end up being a little bit better products of society out here. And that's a fact. You can look that up if you don't believe me, folks. And that's what I want. I am utilizing this International Women's Day, and I'm renaming it, okay? I wipe my ass with International Women's Day. Let's call it International Family Day. How about that? How about International Family Day? We don't need any more of this feminist crap. That's it, folks. I mean, look at the social landscape out here. Look, folks, for all you that know me, you know that I'm an employer. And let me tell you, the economic landscape isn't looking too good to be an independent businessman, but that's besides the point. I employ people, folks. I employ a lot of 20-somethings that are trying to get on their feet out here. A lot of them don't have a high school diploma. And to be honest with you, folks, I prefer people not having high school diplomas. I mean, they seem to be a little bit more reliable. They seem to have a little bit better work ethic. They seem to be a little less pussified because they weren't anesthetized with all this feminist liberal crap. But you see, folks, I try to get in tight with my employees. You know, I want to know what's going on. I want to know what motivates them to create themselves to provide 100% work ethic. I mean, so what I do is I take them out to dinner all the time. I invite them over to my house. I have little get-togethers all the time with all my employees, and I sit them down and I ask them questions. And you know, a lot of these fellas, they're good guys, man. These are good 20-somethings. They're out there working their asses off, making an honest living, and they're all single. Now, why are they all single? It's not because they want to be some gigolo. It's not because they want to be some, some guy that, puts his erected penis in any vagina that opens up to them. No, that's not what they want. They actually want families out here, folks. I talk to them. They want families. They want a decent woman. They want to have children. But why can't they do it? Because let me tell you, folks, the modern-day woman, at least here in America, from what I understand, and I've gotten this from a lot of folks, and at the same time, I see it with my own eyes. I see with my own eyes, plain observation. The modern-day woman, if you're a woman that doesn't think like this, I'm sorry, I apologize to you. If you carry yourself outside the normal standard, I applaud you. But I'm just generalizing based on the majority, because a group is defined by their majority, folks. Always remember that. But the majority of the American women and the westernized woman, they have turned themselves into subliminal prostitutes, okay? And you can look this up, folks. I go to whatever search engine you utilize and type in why people divorce. And guess what the number one problem for divorce is? Financial. That's right, the money. All about the money. And you see, that's the root of the feminist movement, folks. I mean, there's no morality in the feminist movement. There's no equality to the feminist movement. It is corrupting women's minds into reshaping themselves into subliminal prostitutes. You can look in pop culture. Look at Beyonce Knowles. That's supposed to be a fixture for our children, right? Beyonce Knowles, what is she singing about? Oh, you can pay all my bills, you can pay my telephone bills, and then maybe we can chill. That was a line from her song, folks. Maybe we can chill if someone pays her bills. What kind of message is that sending, folks? Huh? That's just great. That's just perfect right there. That's why our society is being flushed down the proverbial toilet right now. Because of this mentality right here. And I am utilizing International Women's Day, hopefully to piss off a few feminists out here, you know. I don't like the feminists, folks. I really don't. I hate the feminists. I am an anti-feminist. I am not afraid to say it. I'm not afraid to express it. I'm not afraid to yell it. Feminism is rooted in communism, folks. If you don't believe me, and I've said this on previous shows, look it up yourself. Check out Frankfurt University. Check out how that university was started, and check out the professors that wrote literature on Marxism. Because that's what founded Frankfurt University. It was a convention of a bunch of Marxists. And those Marxists at Frankfurt University invented this whole crap that we are seeing via the feminist movement and ultraliberalism, folks. You can look it up for yourself. I don't get on this program to tell you how to think. This is America. You can think how you want to think. The only reason I come up on this program is to provide political discourse on subject matters that affect us as a society, as a civilization. And I would hope that whether you agree or disagree with some of the content and some of the commentary that I say on this program, hopefully that you take that, hopefully it sparks a couple of synapses in your brain, and you can go out and talk about it to other people. Read about it, learn about it. Because that's the only way people are going to understand what is happening to our society. International Women's Day, what a crock of crap. Okay? What a crock of crap. Anyway, folks, you can get back to me, folks. If you happen to be some sort of hairy, armpitted feminist that just doesn't believe me, or that wants to argue with me, provide some substance, get on the phone. 646-652-4869 is the number to call. Give me a call right now and provide some substance, okay? Because a lot of these feminists, what they like to do is they like to call up. They like to say, oh, you know what, Ghost, you're a wife beater. You're a chauvinist. You're a snake. You're a lizard. And, folks, let me tell you, I am nothing of the sort, okay? I've been married for a very long time. I have children, I have grandchildren. We've raised a great family. And it was based on the family unit, folks. It's because none of us were selfish out here. But you see, we got a lot of selfishness being prevalent in our society, and no one gives two rats' asses about it. No one's even talking about these subject matters. And why aren't they talking about these subject matters? Because they don't want you to talk about them, man. Feminism and liberalism has infiltrated the majority of the American psyche. It's proven. You can take a look at this presidential election, and it goes to show you that liberalism has infected the minds of everybody around here. Look at John Turncoat McCain, for Christ's sake, for the Republicans. That just goes to show you that this man, he's 2 issues away from being a full-blown liberal, and yet you've got everybody and their brother, with the exception of true conservatives like myself and old-school Republicans, embracing this piece of crap. They are embracing this old prostate-infected liberal piece of trash. I just don't understand it. What's wrong with this picture, folks? I remember when the Republican Party meant something, you know, less taxes, less government in our faces, less bureaucracy. It's completely gone now. It really doesn't matter who you're voting for in this presidential election. You're going to get liberalism, folks. That's all there is to it. Just take a look at the legislation in John Turncoat McCain's past. That's all liberal-based. Just take a look at things with his name on it. McCain-Feingold. I mean, McCain-Feingold bill basically wiped McCain wiped his ass, literally, with the First Amendment, with the McCain-Feingold bill. And Feingold, he's one of the most liberal politicians on the other side of the aisle. McCain-Kennedy. I mean, we all know Ted Kennedy is a liberal piece of trash. McCain-Lieberman. I mean, are you kidding me, folks? And you see, you got these Republicans, specifically on the Blog Talk Radio Network out here, chastising me. All right, they're spreading slanderous lies, personal attacks at me because I'm not going to vote for this piece of trash. All right, and it doesn't mean that I'm going to vote for anybody on the left of the persuasion because I refuse to vote for those Marxists. I'm just not going to vote in the presidential election, folks. I am sticking to the state representation of my state. I'm going straight after the congressional seats and the Senate seats. And I'm going to make sure to try to advocate true conservative politicians that are going to have America's interest first at hand. Because that's the only way we're going to take power, folks, because the presidency is gone. It's gone. That's all there is to it. And there's really nothing any of us can do about it. It's sad. It makes me want to puke up. But the point of that tirade was liberalism is infecting our minds, folks. It's infecting every American mind out here. And it's sad. It's sad. All right? We're sitting here on International Women's Day, right? International Women's Day. I mean, if you take a look at the boob tube right now, all you hear is a bunch of pro-women crap. And the bottom line is, folks, the feminist movement is ruining our country. It's not only ruining our country, it's ruining every Western civilization on the globe today. And I think that more people need to put emphasis on the fact that this feminist movement is corroding the morals of America. Okay? And I'm not saying morals in any religious sense. I'm just saying moral ethos in a sociological sense. We need to understand that the foundation of humanity is the family, okay? You can look back at all the historical records out here, the geologic record, the records of archaeology, anthropology, the root foundation, family. And I don't understand why nobody else is trying to advocate for the family out here. It seems to me once you start saying family, people look at you like you just farted on their best suit. It's ridiculous. Anyway, folks, if you have something to chime in about, I definitely want to hear from you. 646-652-4869 is the number to call. We are renaming International Women's Day, and we are renaming it International Family Day. How about that? Huh? International Family Day should be a little bit more like it, okay? These feminists have contributed absolutely nothing but the erosion of civil society, okay? And like I said, if you happen to know Gloria Steinem's email address, please, at the end of the show, email this show to her and tell her I said F you, you stupid, bull-dyke feminist piece of trash. In my opinion, you and feminists like you, Gloria Steinem, have ruined the moral ethos of America. You've equated women out here shitting out about 5 or 6 kids from 5 or 6 different fathers. You're equating that with you're equating that with women liberation. You're equating women liberation with 5 or 6, 7 different divorces. This is what woman liberation has spawned, folks. It has created the social ills and have turned them into the social norm, man. I mean, take a look at the shows that we're watching on entertainment television out here. I mean, take a look at the children's shows that are being exposed to our children. I mean, a lot of prevalence of single-parent families. I mean, this liberal media, our government, the morons in America, we're all embracing this crap. You know, like I said, I'm an employer, folks, and I employ a lot of 20-something males, okay? And I always invite them over to have dinner, you know. I mean, I like to keep my employees happy out here. You know, I mean, that's the only way to keep a good staff and to be able to inspire some decent work ethic out here. And I talk to my employees. These are 20-somethings, you know. I pay them fairly well. Last time, or sometime back, I should say, one of these guys came in, nice-looking car. I know he's spending next week's cash on that car, but nice-looking car. Got himself a nice little, it looked like a little $5,000 to $10,000 little Rolex watch. He got himself some pretty good clothes, some pretty good digs. Now, why in the blue hell is he spending all that money on $10,000 watches, you know, a $50,000 car? Why is he spending that money? Do you think it's to appease his own materialistic needs? Hell no, it's not. It's because that attracts women, folks. That right there attracts women. And by very definition, the feminist movement, folks, has turned the average westernized woman into a subliminal prostitute. It's no longer about romance and, you know, getting together and I guess feeling each other as a legitimate, you know, sacred union. It's no longer about that anymore, folks. I mean, you know, females, I know that there's some out there. I get emails from conservative females all the time, and I salute you, okay? For you females that believe in the sanctity of marriage, that believe that you need a two-parent family to raise children, I salute you. I sincerely do. You have my heart, and you should have America's heart as well. But like I said, folks, a group is defined by their majority, and the majority at this point, I'm telling you, the majority of them are subliminal prostitutes, man. You know, it's Saturday. It's Saturday evening, okay? After this show, I challenge you, go to your nearest alcoholic beverage establishment, okay? Go to your nearest alcoholic beverage establishment and count how many women went to that little alcoholic beverage establishment with no money, all right? And take a look at how many of them are going to get plastered at the end of the night. And ask yourself, well, you know, can I come to the bar? And can I come to the bar with no money and still get intoxicated at $4 a beer? Hell no, you can't. But hey, that's America. That's the new modern-day America that we're living in, folks. Thanks to the feminist movement. That's great. Anyway, 646-652-4869 is the number to call. Please, if you have an opinion about this, I'd like to hear it from you. All right, I know I get criticized a lot around these parts of the internet because I refuse to acknowledge the feminist movement, and I'm never going to acknowledge it, folks. The feminist movement is the root of the majority of the social problems in westernized countries. Okay, you just take a look at the statistics at every westernized nation, and you will see a high divorce rate in the 70 percentile range. You're going to see a high prevalence of single-parent families out there, and it's because of this whole concept of equating women liberation with hopping around from penis to penis to penis. And I'm sorry, folks, if I'm getting a little graphic for you, I'm sorry. I know this is International Women's Day, but we need some straight talk, all right? I mean, we need to start talking some realism out here. If we don't, we're just going to see the erosion of our society like we are witnessing right before our eyes. And the only reason that America, okay, America is still, I wouldn't call it acceptable, but it's better than most westernized countries. If you get married today, it's a 50-50 shot that you'll get divorced. And that's fairly well considering the other westernized nations. Australia has 75% divorce rate, Germany 70% divorce rate, and you can take a look at the rest of the statistics of other westernized nations. And it's this feminist movement that has equated all this garbage, all right, to woman liberation. And I damn the feminist movement. I mean, I thought the feminist movement was supposed to be about equality. Remember that? Equality? Well, it's not equality anymore, folks. Look at this gender-biased justice system here. All right? I mean, take a look at that one stupid nutcase, this maniac out of Texas over here. I forgot her damn name, but and I remember when it happened, and I'm sure once I tell you the case in question, it's going to bring some memories back to your recollection. There was a woman out here in Texas who drowned 5 of her children with her own hands. Okay? Now you got to take in consideration, okay, the mindset of doing that. Okay? That means you have to take a crying child, okay? You got to take them into a tub of water, shove their head into the water, hearing them fight, scream, you wiggle around. I mean, have you ever seen a a bug trying to wiggle out of a trap, or a mouse trying to wiggle out of a trap, or anything of that nature. I mean, this is what's happening here, okay? This lady out here in Texas single-handedly drowned 5 of her children. And what happened? What happened, folks? Okay, did she go to jail? No. I mean, she went to jail during the trial and all this nonsense. But she single-handedly drowned her children. Now listen, I mean, you got to think about this. She went into her bathroom, filled her bathtub full of bath water, and drowned her children. 5 of them. 5 children. And what happened? She's out in the streets, folks. She went to the nut home for a little bit, and she blamed it on postpartum depression. Oh, she's got postpartum depression. Oh, she's got postpartum depression, so let's just go ahead and give her a free ride after she single-handedly drowned her 5 children. How about that? Let's just show compassion to an idiot, dingbat broad. Let's just go ahead and show compassion because, the feminist movement, right? Oh, yeah, that's equality. A woman can kill 5 of her children, get out in the street. Oh, man, the International Women's Day, screw it. I spit on International Women's Day. Puh, puh. All right, this is what I think of International Women's Day right here. Here we go. This is for International Women's Day right now. That's what I think of International Women's Day because, let me tell you something, the root of International Women's Day, the feminist movement, is flushing our society down the toilet. You know? It's ridiculous. And I'm telling you, folks, anybody who tries to be an advocate to this feminist movement crap, you don't know your ass from your elbow. It's either that or you want to be dominated. Or you like communism, because that's the root foundation. That is the root foundation of feminism, folks. I mean, bottom line. And I hate these advocates, they try to say, woman liberation was about equality. It's not about equality, folks. How is it equal that a woman can drown her children, 5 children, and get off scot-free? I mean, can you tell me where the equality is in that? I just don't know, man. I mean, it leaves me speechless. You notice that every summertime, you always hear about these supposed accidents. These supposed accidents about these women leaving their children in their car. They leave their children in their car in 100-degree weather by accident. Every summer it happens. And why? Because these women know they can get away with murder. They know that they can get away with this. They realize that, hey, you know what? Maybe it does take 2 parents to raise a child. And what do? They drown, or they leave their kid in a car for them to roast, and they get off scot-free. There is no equality in that, folks. And I'm using International Women's Day to acknowledge the hypocrisy in it. Because it is hypocrisy, folks. I don't care what anybody says. This feminist movement is the biggest farce in world history. Okay? I understood the suffrage movement at the turn of the 20th century, and I'll acknowledge that they accorded the woman the right to vote, accorded the woman the right to work, and I commend them for that. But this feminist movement is ruining our country. It's not only ruining our country, it's ruining every westernized nation. It's decimating the American family. It's decimating the world family. And the sooner we start understanding this and acknowledging it and providing discourse about this subject matter, I think the better off we may be out here. But of course, when you try to facilitate debate on such a controversial subject matter such as feminism, what happens? Well, of course, you get ridiculed, you get called all kinds of slanderous lies and names and personal attacks. No type of substance, man. And I'm providing you substance, folks. You may not agree with the brashness of my particular persuasion, but the bottom line is, folks, is that everything that I'm saying on this program is absolutely true. The social ills are becoming the social norms. Why? Why? The bottom line is feminist movement. I mean, when you refashion the woman appetite into believing that she can equate her sexual independence with going around and hopping on anything that looks good in a leather jacket, and if she has a kid, well, you know, tough titty, I'll go ahead and have 6 or 7 of them by 6 or 7 different fathers because it's woman liberation, right? I mean, this is the mentality of the feminist movement, and that's why International Women's Day is ridiculous. It's absolutely, utterly ridiculous. Do you? I mean, I haven't heard of an International Man's Day, and if I did, I would think it's just as ridiculous. Okay? I would think it's just as ridiculous. I mean, the bottom line is, folks, is that we need to get back to the essence of humanity. I mean, what was the organizing principle of early man? Family. All right? I mean, it's been documented through archaeological digs, anthropology, geology. I mean, it has been recorded that the root principle of humanity is the family. And we're going away from that, and you got these liberals out here trying to justify it by saying that it's social evolution. And I don't believe that one bit. How can you say that something is social evolution when you've got outside influences creating the power of suggestion to social engineer this whole crap? Because, you know, that's exactly what's happening is social engineering, folks. It's sad, man. It really is sad. And I'd like to hear from some of you folks out here. I know that maybe there's a lot of people that probably disagree with me and whatnot, but hey, you know, I'd like for you to give me some substance on why. Give me some substance. 646-652-4869. But you're not going to have it. You know what you're going to have, folks? You know, some of the hateful emails that I receive on a consistent basis because of my politics. I get death threats. I get all kinds of personal attacks sent to me on a consistent basis because I'm just telling it how it is, folks. Okay, I'm a foot soldier for the American family, okay, and I'm seeing the American family being decimated because of liberalism and feminism, okay? And I'm not going to just sit here and just allow it to happen. I refuse to just sit by and accept this crap. I'm not going to do it. And I don't think you should either, folks. If you're a real person that believes in some sort of moral integrity, and you don't have to base morality with any type of religion, I mean, just base it on decent moral principles. If you have any type of moral integrity to yourself, understand that we can't let this continue on. All right, we can't masquerade ourselves behind something called political correctness and think that everything's going to be okay. It's not going to be okay, damn it. It's not going to be okay. We're seeing it now. We're seeing the social ills becoming the social norms, and it's not okay. And that's why I'm taking this opportunity here on this International Women's Day, which is an absolute farce. And what I'm doing here now is changing the name, folks. This day is no longer International Women's Day. It's International Family Day. How about that? Family. Let's talk about the family out here. Let's talk about raising a decent generation. Let's relay to the next generation that by having women shitting out about 5 or 6 kids from 5 or 6 different fathers, okay, it's just not gonna pan out. All right, you're not going to raise a decent product of society out here. Okay, I mean it's just common sense, folks. And that's all I want. I want it to get back to the way it was. I mean, Everybody's wondering why we're seeing such deviant, activity prevalent in our society. I mean, why people are participating in weird activities. You got, all kinds of freak shows out here. Why is it? Well, it's because all the social ills are becoming the social norm, my friend. We got a gender-biased justice system. We got a gender-biased society. And I thought the root foundation, well, according to the feminist movement, was equality. There's nothing equal about this movement out here, this feminist crap. There's nothing equal about it. A hard-working man can come home after a hard day's work, putting food on the table out here, could come home, see his woman getting a high hard one from the damn milkman or the pizza boy or some idiot down the street that looks good in a leather jacket. He could divorce her. She still obtains the children because of our gender-biased justice system. She could be a philanderous whorebag caught in the act, and she will still get the children because of our gender-biased justice system. Okay? And on top of which, you got to give her 50% of everything because that's how divorces work, right? If you get divorced from her, you got to give her 50%. It's stupid, but that's how it is. Okay? And on top of that, because she has the children, the man has to pay child support. That's right. All the man was doing was working, coming home, found his wife being a philanderous whorebag, and he's getting penalized for it. This is the gender-biased justice system that I'm talking about, folks. Okay? How is this equal here? How is that equal? And if you happen to have alimony in your state, not only do you have to give 50% of all your net worth to this philanderous whorebag, not only do you have to give her child support, which she's probably going to spend on herself, but you got to pay this dish rag whore alimony. That's equality, huh? Yeah, let's just go ahead. That's International Women's Day. Yay! That's equality for your ass right there. It's ridiculous, and that's why I come up on here, folks. I come up on here in hopes of trying to provide discourse on subject matters that nobody wants to talk about. Nobody. Because they're afraid of the recourse. And I don't blame them, folks, because some of the things I say on here gives me some bad death threats out here. I got people, I had one woman email me saying that she wanted to rip my head off and menstruate down my throat. I kid you not, that's what she said. And that's woman liberation for you, huh? That's the feminist movement. It's just ridiculous, man. It's just pathetically ridiculous. Anyway, if you think I'm off my rocker, or if you have an opinion on this, or you want to tell a story, whatever, give me a call. I want to hear from you. 646-652-4869, folks. We're celebrating International Women's Day. We're renaming it to International Family Day. I take a dirty yellow bubbly piss right on International Women's Day. I just do, because it's fake. It's a farce. It's ridiculous. It's just... I just don't see the need for it, man. I don't see the need for it. Are women not allowed to work anymore? No. Are women not allowed to vote anymore? No. So what's the problem? I'll tell you what the problem is, folks. It's the method of agitation that was invented by Marxists, political correctness. And the feminists and everybody else out here are utilizing that to get their agenda across. And what's their agenda? Well, Marxism, folks. We're already seeing it in our government. And let me tell you, I like George Bush. All right, I have several shows dedicated to him. That I thought he was a great president. But he did something that I will never ever forgive George Bush for doing. This stimulus package. This stimulus package is a slippery slope, all right? It's a slippery slope down to socialism. The American people don't want the government to give them money, okay? And that's what these dumbasses out here running for president don't understand. We don't want the government's money, okay? All we want the government to do is govern, all right? Provide a decent economic landscape out here, so that people can go out and support themselves, okay? And the only reason that we're seeing so many people wanting entitlements is because we have a system, we have a liberal media, and we have a social landscape that is encouraging single-parent families. Now, when you're a woman who's shitted out about 5 or 6 kids for 5 or 6 different fathers, I mean, how motivated are you going to be to go out and support your children? You're not going to do it. And what happens? Well, we as American taxpayers, and you can go and look this up yourself, folks. I'm not talking out my ass when it comes to this. I am telling you the truth. You can go and see that women that have legitimately, that are single and have 6 or 7 kids from 6 or 7 different fathers, these females are legitimately getting $4,000 to $5,000 a month in entitlements. Everything from free housing, free government cheese, welfare, food stamps, child care. The government even provides these dish rag whores with a job. It's ridiculous, man. But you see, that's what our system, in my opinion at this point, wants us to be. They want us to be dependent. We're seeing a systematic transition from what we knew of as America into some sort of quasi-socialist government. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, I had a fella call me up 2 weeks ago, and I always tell this story because it shocks me, but it doesn't surprise me, but it shocks me. Had a fella call up and say, hey, I served my country. I was in Iraq. I spilled blood for this country. I come back home. I can't find work because all the jobs have been shipped out of the country thanks to the imbalanced trade deals signed by the power-hungry autocrats we send to Washington. And on top of which, this poor man that I'm speaking of, not only can he not find a job because all the jobs are shipped out, he's got to compete with the 20 million illegal immigrants that are in this country illegally, that are basically working for 25 cents on the dollar. And they expect us to compete with that. And nobody's talking about these subject matters. Well, anyway, and you can look back in the archive, folks. This show is in the archive. This man and his wife both got on the telephone and were just telling me this just absolutely heart-wrenching story. They have 3 children. The man can't find work, so the woman went behind the man's back. And these were Republican, proud Republican folks, all right, God-fearing people. She went behind her husband's back to go out and see if she could get some support from the government. She didn't want entitlements. She didn't want welfare. She wanted workfare, all right, and that's all she wanted. So when she went out and attempted to get some assistance out here, and she went to go talk to a social worker, what did the social worker tell her? I'll tell you what she told her. The social worker said, well, you know, since you're married and you've got a husband, I can barely give you this amount of money, which was a minute amount of cash that could barely pay a phone bill and maybe one other collateral bill. I mean, nothing substantial, nothing that could legitimately help them out in their economic crisis situation. But then the social worker alluded to, but if you separate from your husband, if you divorce your husband, we'll get you a free house, we'll get you $2,000 a month, we'll go ahead and get you free government cheese. I mean, the whole 9 yards. I mean, she made it seem as if the social worker was trying to encourage her to get a divorce. And you see, the thing is, though, is that they were. I mean, this is the system that we have here, folks. I mean, this is why the decimation of the American family is happening right before our very eyes. Because we're seeing it. It's disgusting. And nobody wants to talk about it. All everybody wants to do is just ignore it and think it'll go away. It's not going to go away, folks. And that's why I get up on here and I attempt to provide debate and discourse on such subject matters, because I could care less what people say about me, folks. Okay? I'm not like all these other jagoffs out here in the blogosphere and some individuals on the Blog Talk Radio Network that are plastering their faces on every blog that they put themselves on, and, you know, broadcasting their real names and that sort of thing. I'm not out for notoriety, folks. I could give a rat's ass about it, folks. I mean, I'm a business owner out here. All right, I'm an independent businessman. The only reason I come up on here is because I love my country. Okay? I love this country. I love the American Constitution. I mean, I remember a day when you could be born in this country with absolute nothing. Crap. You could be born in this country without a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of, and you can, with hard work, dedication, motivation, you could fulfill yourself with the American dream. But we're not going to see that anymore, folks. I mean, just take a look at the impending economic doom that is headed for us here within the next 6 months. We have a devaluing American dollar that isn't even worth the paper it's printed on anymore. You've got high-end retail stores in America that are no longer accepting American money because of that. They're only accepting euro dollars in America. Okay, it's not in Europe or some international community somewhere. In America, they're in high-end retail stores, they're not accepting American money anymore. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Nobody's talking about these subject matters. We've got 20 million illegal immigrants that are devaluing the cost of labor, and that's on top of the fact that we've got imbalanced trade deals that are sending the means of production out of America. You see, this is what I'm talking about, folks. Nobody is talking about it. And we have a social landscape out here because of liberalism and feminism that's basically creating the social ills and turning them into the social norm. I mean, what in the blue hell should happen? And you see, I'm looking at my chat room. I got some Nimrodic buffoonery up here saying, well, what? Then we shouldn't allow women to vote? You see, this is what I'm talking about. These are the methods of agitation that are utilized by liberals and feminists to try to deviate the mind from the actual subject matter at hand. And the subject matter at hand is that we are seeing a prevalence of 5 or 6 divorces from the majority of American and westernized people out here. We're seeing a majority of single-parent families out here in every westernized country. Why? Why are we seeing such a prevalence? Because of the feminist movement and liberalism, folks. And if you don't want to see it, then you've been anesthetized with the propaganda utilized by these communists. And that's all there is to it. That is all there is to it. And I got a question. How can shops in America not take American money? Well, because Vince, and that was Vince Sanity that asked that question. Well, Vince, the bottom line is that the devaluing of the American dollar is so bad. Our American dollar is so damn depleted. Nobody wants to take it anymore. I mean, I remember a day I could go out anywhere in this international community, anywhere in the globe, pull out a couple of Benjamin Franklins, and no matter what no matter what language, no matter what country it was, they would accept it. They understood American money. But because we have such a high debt, because the means of production have been basically shipped out of America, and now they're in communist China and in Mexico and other third world nations, and because we have an influx of 20 million illegal immigrants that are devaluing the cost of labor, that's why we have such a bad economy, and it's only going to get worse, folks, because we don't produce a damn thing. I mean, you hear these presidential candidates talking about jobs, I'm going to bring more jobs. How in the blue hell are you going to bring more jobs, morons? We don't produce anything anymore. The only thing we produce is entertainment and cheeseburgers. Okay? And you've got illegal immigrants basically flooding the employment market in those industries. So, I mean, how are these presidents going to remedy this horrific economic disaster that is looming here within the next 6 months? I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's just absolutely disgusting, man. It's just absolutely disgusting. We are seeing a transition, all right, from what we knew of as America, all right, into something quasi-socialist communist. And you got every Nimrod in America, and let me tell you, I think that as a politician, we need to be real with the public. okay? You hear these dumbass slogans out here. Oh, we need to change America. Change in America. We will do it. And all this ridiculous garbage. Why doesn't a politician just be real, okay? Why doesn't a politician just be real and just put a real slogan, all right? Like, the public sucks. How about that? Because they do suck, folks. I'm sorry. And I'd like to try to show American society some compassion and say, well, it's not their fault. We have a ridiculous public education system that is dumbing down generation after generation because the apparatus of public education has been hijacked by feminists and liberals. But, folks, we have the greatest tool on the face of the planet, okay? The greatest tool on the face of the planet, the Internet. I mean, there are billions upon billions of libraries at your fingertips, and what are most people utilizing the Internet for? Pornography! I mean, you got deviants on here waxing their carrots all day long looking at pornography. Instead of actually reading something, learning something, understanding something, no, they're out there becoming a bunch of sexual deviants. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely, utterly sickening. And let me tell you something. All these people that are out here promoting this International Women's Day, once again, this is what I think of International Women's Day. And I've already done it before, but I'm going to do it again. This is what I think of it, folks. That's what I think of International Women's Day, okay? Because they're flushing Western society down the toilet, this feminist movement crap. And anybody that doesn't understand it, doesn't know it, doesn't want to, doesn't know their ass from their elbow. And we've already discussed for the past hour and 10 or so that how and why the feminist movement has ruined our country, not only our country, but every westernized country. And it needs to stop. And the only way we can stop it is if we have discourse on these subject matters like this. Okay? That's all we need. I mean, that's the only thing we can do is provide discourse and debate on subject matters and not deviate from it. Don't let these liberals deviate your conscience into thinking something else that has nothing to do with the subject matter being discussed. It's just a shame, man. It's just a damn shame. I mean, I try to come up on here and I try to tell it like it is, but it seems to me that everybody is just, I have no idea what people are thinking. I mean, you got millions of people participating in the political process, voting for candidates for all the wrong reasons. You've got people voting for Barack Hussein Obama because he's got nice teeth. You got people voting for Hillary Clinton because, she's a woman. And I really don't know why in the blue hell anybody's voting for John McCain, to be honest with you. I have no idea. But the bottom line is, folks, is that we need to come back to reality. Okay, you don't need to be some articulate intellectual to have some damn common sense, damn it. All right, this is your country, folks. If you're an American, this is your country. All right, get off your fat jelly ass. All right, stop shoveling food down your gullet like a damn garbage disposal. Get off from the boob tube. Go out and participate in this government. All right? Go out and participate in this government. This is your government, for Christ's sake. I mean, this is the freest society, at least for the time being, because I am seeing a transition from what we knew of as a free society into a quasi-socialist communist government. All right? But the bottom line is we do live in a free society, folks. If you don't believe me, there is empirical evidence that shows that this is a free damn society. That if the general populace gets behind a certain issue, the government will crack. It'll buckle. The Civil Rights Act. I mean, that just goes to show you, okay? The Civil Rights Act was signed by a historical documented racist, Lyndon Baines Johnson, who was a historical racist, but he signed the Civil Rights Act. Why? He signed it because there was enough people in America that believed in it, man. That's why. I mean, it took a long time, and a lot of people had to be martyred, unfortunately, to pass such legislation. But that's what happened, folks, and I'm telling you, I mean, we need to get together and we need to understand that this is our country. We can't let these power-hungry autocrats in Washington dictate our lives. I mean, they've already shipped out the means of production outside of the country with these imbalanced trade deals. I mean, it's no coincidence that we're getting all this ridiculous defective garbage from China. And for all you folks that have kept up to date with my show, you know I hate China. I mean, I feel sorry for the Chinese people, but I hate the Chinese government. I despise it. I think they're ridiculous. I think they're a bigger threat to our national security than anything else. I mean, look at all the defective products they're sending in over here. I mean, there was a toy that was being sold to children here in America that was manufactured in China that had the damn date rape drug in it. I mean, the date rape drug was in a toy sold to children. And this is the Chinese government. And, you know, we're giving them all our money. And on top of us giving them all kinds of money in trade, they own our debt, okay? I mean, they own our debt. And they have all kinds of money because we're giving it to them based on their manufacturing. And what are they doing with all that American money they're making? Well, they're buying nuclear warheads and they're aiming them right at us. And this is a fact. If you don't believe me, look it up for yourself. All right, but what are we doing as Americans? What are we doing? We're playing with our pecker shafts. That's what we're doing. We're playing with our pecker shafts thinking that everything's gravy. It's not. Okay? I mean, the biggest national security risk to America is China, folks, and I hope that the Chinese government one day chokes on their damn chopsticks because I hate them, folks. I really do hate the Chinese government. I hate them. I'm sorry, okay? I mean, the Chinese people, I feel bad for them. All right, I really do feel bad for the Chinese people. I mean, these people are subjects in a humongous lab rat experiment. And what's unfortunate is that there's over 1 billion people in this country being dictated to by a small minority. I think what the Chinese people need to understand is that, you know, the only thing that makes their government legitimate is their recognition of it. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, folks, I'm going to go ahead and take a call here. 419, you're on the air.
Hey, Ghost. This is Heather. How are you doing?
How you doing, Heather? Good evening to you.
I'm doing really good. Thanks for taking my call.
No problem.
I was just thinking, because I've been doing a lot of research, and for me it's like just about the whole freedom situation, because I know, like, a lot of people, I mean, I'll be the first to admit, after 9/11, I was really, really, you know, just going along with the flow. You know, just letting things happen, you know, the Patriot Act and all these things. But I think that we are probably in the scariest time. And I think ever since this country was established, I mean, even scarier than the Civil War, scarier than even the Civil Rights Movement. I mean, we're at a turning point where a lot of things are going on under our nose. And we don't even get to know about it until after it's already been passed or happened. Because I know I was reading, I don't know if you know anything about this one, but I think it was May of last year, the president signed a bill that essentially allows him, in the case of another national emergency, for him to act like a dictator. And it's PD 51. I know that people are saying that it's not something that he can act like a dictator, but it's up to him to make sure that the government is working properly. Now, when I was in school, I was taught that the Constitution, I mean, based on the Constitution, but that the federal government was designed to run in 3 different areas of government. Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought it was the legislative, the executive, and the judicial.
That's exactly what it's supposed to be, but unfortunately, I don't know where our country's going, and it's the fact that we have an ignorant society, and like I said, I mean, I don't know if it's our fault or if it's the fault of the public education system, because it's obvious the public education system purposely dumbs down generations so that they can't participate in their government. But I just don't know where this country's going. You're having powers being consolidated at the executive level. You've got the economic landscape at an absolute, I mean, it's scarier in my opinion than the Great Depression. The only reason that we're still afloat half-ass is because we're so stupid in America that we actually believe that this money is worth something. And it seems to me now that more and more international nation states are accepting the euros as opposed to American dollars or American currency, it seems to me that we're the only nimrods in the world that still believe our own horse shit, with all due respect. Excuse my French.
That's okay. That's okay. But it's true. It's like it's so disturbing at this point what's going on underneath our noses. I mean, we are under the impression that when we use our debit card or if we go to the ATM and take cash out, that we are actually using something of value. And we're not. And I think that, just looking at the stock market yesterday, tomorrow's Friday. Yesterday was Friday. It went down like 150 points. But people have like this artificial confidence in just everything. And it's like, what is everything leading up to? I think I have an idea. I have my own idea. I know that you hate to go with conspiracy theories, but as the time goes on, I used to hate conspiracy theories too, but as time goes on, I think we're being shown that this is all building up to something, because what the Federal Reserve is doing is evil. To say it's not evil is just being really, I guess, naive, because if they lower interest rates one more time, we can fully expect for the dollar to crash. And for them to do that purposely is complete evil, and for them to be allowed to continue to do it and nobody's doing anything tells me that this is all being done on purpose, and maybe we are being conditioned and prepped for the New World Order, basically, or the North American Union. It's like, what has to happen for people to, it's like I want to just run up to people and tell them, stop.
Well, you know, people are just dumb, man. I just think that, unfortunately, what's going to happen, I mean, all I can do and all anybody can do is utilize venues and mediums to try to facilitate debate and discourse on such subject matters. But as far as a call to action, you can forget about it. I mean, you know, everybody in America is not concerned about their government. I mean, you know, they utilize government as a method of entertainment. I mean, and we've discussed about the presidential candidates in the seats by both parties, or that are running for both parties, and how they're absolutely not saying anything. They're just talking a bunch of talking points, and there's just no meaning behind these subject matters. And what I mean by meaning, I'm talking about things that affect America. And I think that, I mean, I don't know where this is headed, to be honest with you. I mean, I still believe that we're somewhat still a free society, but the more and more power gets consolidated, the more and more we see nefarious type of trade deals and other such kind of treaties and supposed programs with other nations. I never thought I'd ever say this, but, I mean, it's starting to seem as though we are getting ready to merge, at least on this part of the globe, with Canada and Mexico, and the whole concept, which was brought up by a think tank, of the North American Union seems to be coming to flourish. And look, it's not about conspiracies anymore. I mean, you got to just take in consideration everything that is given to us as far as information and news is concerned via the internet. We look at the observations that our government and other governments are participating in. We can just observe it and try to interpret it in such manners. And I believe, and I'm here in Texas, and I'm seeing the construction of the NAFTA superhighway. I'm seeing this whole concept of eminent domain taking away land from folks that basically had that land before Texas was even part of the Union. That land is being taken away for this NAFTA superhighway eminent domain garbage. And I just think that the more and more I see the just decimation of American sovereignty via trade deals. I mean, and I beg everybody who knows about the European Union to check out how exactly the European Union was erected. I mean, this was a unification of Europe that most of those countries, I wouldn't say every one of them, but most of those countries that are a part of the European Union didn't want to have anything to do with it. And yet they still were somehow obliged to take part in the European Union because of these ridiculous trade deals and other such diplomatic relations that basically correlated the construction of the European Union. And if you compare what happened pre-European Union and compare it to what's happening now in America, it seems awfully similar. And that's why I'm telling people to start waking up.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you said that it's beyond the point of conspiracy theory at this point, because these type of ideas, they've been floating around for probably the past 4 or 5 years about, everything being consolidated into a North American Union. It's beyond conspiracy theories now. We are seeing it come to fruition, if people like it or not. Like, I know that you have to pretty much, I know the way things are now, you have to be in like certain parts of the country to really understand it, because I know that a lot of people who are on Blog Talk Radio who claim to be conservative or are conservative, they live in either California or they live in Tennessee or they live in, different parts of the country that really aren't affected by anything except the economy at this point. But when you live in places like Texas, when you have something like this being established, or you live in places like Montana where the Second Amendment is being contested, or you live in places like Ohio and Michigan where they're actually in a depression right now. You have to, I guess it depends on where you're at, and that gives you your perspective. I guess if I lived in California where there's not that much going on except there's a bit of a housing crisis, then I would be like, what's the big deal? What's the big fuss? Because I've even heard people on Blog Talk Radio, a fellow host, I'll even name names. It was J.P. Allen. He even said that, what's the big deal about a highway being constructed in Texas? Big deal.
Well, J.P. Allen, or whatever his fruity-ass name is, he's just a ridiculous, ignorant, podunk-born piece of trash. And if anybody knows him, you can tell him I said that. I mean, just listening to the man's commentary, I don't understand why anybody listens to him, but it's always the same Republican / closeted liberal goons that, kick it around each other, that listen to each other's shows around here. Yeah. The bottom line is what he doesn't understand is the crux of the matter. The crux of the matter is this NAFTA superhighway, which is the I-35 corridor, extends into Mexico, down to South America, goes through the United States, right into Canada. It is the economic pipeline for the North American Union, or what the concept of the North American Union is. And basically what this I-35 corridor will allow folks to do, it'll allow Mexican truckers, Canadian truckers, without any type of true manifests or any type of documentation, just to be able to come in and out whenever they please based on economics and trade. And with all due respect, that's basically merging countries together and kind of jeopardizing the sovereignty of all those nations.
Absolutely. It just reminds you of, like you said, the European Union. But I want to say one other thing. I know that you said that you're going to start focusing on politics at your local level. And I think that's an excellent idea. But I think we're getting into a point where I feel, because where I stand, I'm voting Ron Paul regardless. But I think we're at a point where we really need to start at the top, because we have, roads here in America that are pretty much, especially here in Illinois, the roads here, there are potholes here that I am 5'10" tall. I can lay in this pothole end to end, and it will completely cover me. The infrastructure here is absolutely deteriorating. But to quote Ron Paul, we are taxed to the hilt to go blow up bridges across the country, blow up bridges in other countries, and then rebuild those bridges while everything here is essentially falling apart. It's I feel that at this point we need to start at the top, because
Well, you know what's unfortunate about that, Heather? It's just never going to happen at the top because everybody's a moron. I mean, you're putting a lot of confidence in the general American populace, and with all due respect to the general American populace, they're idiots. They're morons. And I hate to say that about my fellow American brethren out here, but they're stupid. I mean, these are the idiots that bought the goddamn pet rock, for Christ's sake. I mean, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I forgot about the pet rock. You're right. That was a little bit before my time, but I do remember it. There's something majorly wrong here, and it's going to take a lot more than, in my opinion, it's going to take a lot more than 10 years, 15 years, 20 years to fix it. I mean, once a person is stupid and they reach a certain age, that mentality stays with them for the rest of their life. I don't know if you've ever, because I know a lot of people in the supposed, collegiate community, these professors and stuff, because I like to have discussions and debates, and I like to pick people's minds and that sort of thing, and they allow me to go in and observe them lecturing, and a lot of these guys, not only do they participate in a tenured professor seat in a university, they also like to teach continuing adult education, which I also like to attend and observe. Try to get someone who has already surpassed the age, in my opinion, I think it's 18 or 17, but just try to get somebody who just never went to college, not that you have to go to college, but doesn't really have a formal education, doesn't have the motivation to seek knowledge, doesn't have common sense. Try to get them to read something, Try to get them to learn something, and just look at the absolute anguish and pain on these people's faces, because I don't know if they don't want to do it or if it's hard for them to do it. I mean, these people would rather dig ditches for 8 hours a day than read a damn book and do some research or do some writing or something of that nature. I mean, what kind of dumb, ignorant garbage is that? It's unbelievable. It's like everyone, they want it to come from the TV. I mean, they want it to be as, palatable as possible coming from the TV. But, unfortunately, the TV is not the source for our news any longer. And
it's never should have been to begin with. I mean, the television is a corporately run entity. I mean, everything is generally. But I mean, the sole purpose of the media, especially these 24-hour news programs or these 24-hour news networks, the only thing they're going to show you is whatever you're going to continue to keep the channel on. I mean, nobody wants to hear about the realities of the economic situation in America. Nobody wants to hear about the tragedies that are happening out in the international community, the wars. They don't want to hear actual issues that are going to pertain to American people. They want to know what animal old Paris Hilton is going to have on her crotch this week, or if Britney Spears is going to go and either shave her private parts or her head. I mean, this is the mentality we're dealing with in America, and we need to get out of it. And the only thing I can do is insult people and hope that it pisses them off to the point that they prove me wrong. But it seems like that's a lost cause within itself.
Oh, absolutely. It's like everyone's bent on perpetuating the same ideas, the same, whatever they were doing before, they don't want to deviate from that. And that's very scary. But I want to quote JFK. I mean, the more I read about JFK, regardless of what he did in his personal life, independent of that, he had the potential probably to be one of the greatest presidents this country ever had, because he wanted to get rid of the Federal Reserve System. And he also wanted to get rid of, he also, didn't let the Department of Defense kind of bully him into doing things that he knew were wrong. But to quote him, he said, if you ever get into if the media or any other entity like that, if they ever get into the habit of silencing a peaceful revolution, they only force a violent revolution. And I hope people realize that, because there are a lot of angry people. A lot of people are angry for different reasons, but I think the majority of people are still asleep and they're not really paying attention to what's going on. But there's a lot of pockets of angry individuals in this country.
You know what? I wouldn't even call it asleep. I think that most people are just imbeciles. And I hate to say that, you know, like I said, I mean, I love America. I believe in the American Constitution. But in my opinion, I think that and I hate to be so cynical about it, but I think that we need to stop saving so many stupid people, you know, with seatbelts and laws that protect people and that sort of thing. Because, you know, the majority of these laws that are meant to help save our lives or protect us are basically like the equivalent of putting a child's safety on a damn lighter. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And I just think that we're saving entirely too many bunch of losers in this country. And I don't mean to say that in such a cynical manner, but the bottom line is that we just need an American Renaissance, if you will. I mean, we need to be enlightened to some extent. And if you read about the Renaissance in Italy, and you read about that, I mean, there was a lot of perpetual tragedy that motivated that elevation of conscience, elevation of philosophy, of intellectual curiosity. And I feel that that's the only way that America is ever going to rectify itself, if it can at all, is if people take their heads out of their clogged up ass cracks and, you know, put it back on their shoulders and start attempting to facilitate some intellectual curiosity.
Oh, I agree 100%. But thanks a lot for the time, Ghost. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you, Heather.
All right, have a good day.
You too. You know, and like I said, folks, that's the only way we're going to save America, folks, is if we have some sort of a American Renaissance. I don't see it happening. Okay, I don't see it happening, but, I mean, all I can do is do my piece. And what do? I come up on here on a consistent basis, and I try to facilitate discourse, debate. And like I said, folks, you don't have to agree with everything I say on this program. All I'm asking you to do is talk about it, think about it, read about it. Okay, that's all I'm asking you to do. Okay, I know it's... I guess it's chic nowadays to shove food down your hole like a garbage disposal and become some fat jelly-ass bastard with cottage cheese ass. I know it's fashionable to do that, and it's okay. It's your right. You can do that. We have freedom in America. But if you're an ignorant person and you're fat in the ass, I think you're a waste of human flesh, with all due respect. Okay? With all due respect, I think you are a waste of human flesh if you have absolutely no intellectual curiosity and you're fat in the ass. Okay? I mean, that's just the bottom line. I mean, put the freaking fork down for about 5 minutes, pick up a book or pick up some sort of reading material and learn something, for Christ's sake. And if you need some direction, all right? If you need some direction, take a look at your government and learn about that. If you don't learn about anything else in your dumb life, learn about your government, because this is still your government here, folks. Remember, for the people, by the people? All right? But, I mean, if you're not going to participate in it, I'm not talking about participating in it by voting for Barack Obama because he's got nice teeth, okay? Or voting for Hillary Clinton because she's a woman. I'm talking about voting for people because they have issues, okay? They talk about issues that are going to help you, that pertain to you, that pertain to me, that pertain to the American people. God, man, I mean, I'm telling you, folks, I get so goddamn angry out here, I want to break something. I want to throw something. I want to hit hit holes in my walls, because I just don't understand the mentality out here in America. People are so stupid. And we need to get out of being so damn stupid. We need to stop being so stupid. Anyway, folks, we still got about a little over 20 minutes left in the program. I want to hear from you. 646-652-4869. Give me a call. I know America's going down to the fifth level of hell. But, folks, all we can do is help stop it. And how do we help stop it, folks? Well, first and foremost, why don't you go to your nearest search engine of choice, look up the American Constitution, print it out, and put it in your pocket. How about that? Read it whenever you get bored, for Christ's sake, because those are your rights that were given to you by your forefathers, you morons. Okay, the American Constitution is the greatest document ever concocted by man. It gave man unalienable rights that most of these fat, jelly-ass, ignorant bastards in America take for granted. Not only do they take it for granted, they don't even know about the damn thing. They're too busy waxing their carrots, looking at pornography, becoming subjects to that Dateline to Catch a Predator program. It's ridiculous, man. I don't know, folks. It's just frustrating, folks. It's just, I don't understand. Everybody seems to have such an element of optimism. You know, when the Democrats came down here to Texas for the caucus / primary, you had all these Democrats out here with such optimism as if, we were living in such great times. We were living in dire straight times. Okay, we were living in dire straits, folks. You notice that most of these people that are for the Democrats, they're either getting entitlement programs from these people or they're living with their mammy. They're living with their mammy, so they don't really have to worry about the economic woes that are going to hit us here within the next 6 to 7 months. And let me tell you, this economic problem is not going to go away, folks. I don't give two rat's asses if you think it is or not. There are too many factors involved with this economic crisis that need to be rectified that none of these dumbass politicians that are running for president are acknowledging. Like I said, first and foremost, we're not producing a damn thing. All we're producing is entertainment and cheeseburgers. That's the only thing that anybody buys out here that's American made. Cheeseburgers and entertainment. And the entertainment field is obviously being bombarded by a bunch of foreigners anyway. That's why you see so many foreign pieces of trash in every damn movie out here. And then the cheeseburger industry, the service industry, that's being dominated by the 20 million illegal immigrants that are in this country working for 25 cents on the dollar. It's stupid, man. But no, everybody's got a Kentucky Fried Chicken grease thumb up their poop chute thinking that everything's gravy. You know? They think that everything's just gravy around here. It's pathetic. That's what it is. It's pathetic. And all I can do, folks, is come up on here and hope that my commentary provides discourse, okay? And all I'd like for you to do, folks, is just talk about some of these subject matters discussed on this program. That's the only way we're going to help change society is by relaying information. I'm not trying to change anybody's mind. I'm not like most of these idiots on the Internet that are in the blogosphere or the Blog Talk Radio Network. You notice that most of these idiots that call themselves bloggers out here are like little mini dictators. Haven't you noticed that? They write to you as if you should obey it, like they're the damn Holy Grail or some crap. That's stupid, man. Every time I come up on this chat, every time I come up on this program, folks, every time I come up on this program, all I'm asking you to do is just listen. And if you agree or disagree, just talk about these subject matters because they pertain to me and you as American people. All right? America. Remember us, America? American Constitution? Remember us over here? Sickening, man. It makes me want to throw up. I don't know what else to say out here, man. I'm just getting red-faced, for Christ's sake. It gets me so damn angry, for Christ's sake. You folks hear me. You can check out the archive. You know that I talk with passion. You know that I talk with fury, because I believe in what I say. I mean what I say what I mean. I'm not like these jerk-asses out here pulling out anything out my derriere out here. I'm speaking from the heart, damn it. We need to rectify these problems. And if we don't rectify these problems, we are going to be suffering in the long run, folks. just as we're seeing now. I don't know. Yeah, it makes me want to puke. As a matter of fact, it's Saturday evening. Why don't we just go ahead and crack open a beer? You know, that's about all you can do out here, right? Crack open a beer. And and hope things work right. You know, here, everybody. Hopefully you have a vice by you, because that's the only thing that calms people's nerves down. Okay, I'm not saying abuse the substance, but it's definitely something you need to appease such hostile feelings, or get them more hostile. Who really gives two rats' asses? Good stuff. Anyway, folks, we got 15 minutes and we're counting down. I'd like to hear from you. If you think I'm off my rocker, if you think I'm just some blowhard or something, give me a call, 646-652-4869, and provide some substance on the debating table. That's all I'm asking. Let's provide some substance on the debating table out here. I love America. Okay, that's why I come up on here on a consistent basis. You think it's because I get paid for this crap? You know, I do get paid, but guess what my royalty check was this past month for this ridiculous Blog Talk radio show? Huh? 50 cents. 50 cents. So it's not the fact that I'm doing this for any type of monetary gain, folks. I'm doing this because I love America. Okay? My family spilt blood for this country. My family's got ancestry that traces back to world wars, civil wars, revolutionary wars. And I hate to see that my family members who basically put their lives on the line to perpetuate the prosperity of this country, I hate to see their memory being pissed on by the ignorant America that we are seeing today, that are just allowing such ignorant subject matters to come to pass. I just want America back, damn it, don't you? Don't you want America back, folks? Or maybe you're appeased with, this transition into a quasi-socialist communist government. Maybe you like it. I don't, folks. I like freedom. All right, that's what I like. I like freedom, folks. I don't want to live in some quasi-socialist communist government. I love the American Constitution. I just don't know. I got a guy in here in the chat room, Hoax Club. He's already saying it's too late. I just got to roll with the punches. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing anybody can do about it. And maybe that's true. But you know what, Hoax? I can't live with myself knowing that I just allowed this crap to happen. Now, it's not like I'm going to do anything about it. All I'm hoping is that, I can make a small contribution that maybe will affect a few lives, and they can pay it forward to other folks and that sort of thing. Now, do I think that I'm going to change the world? Hell no. I'm not stupid. But I on my deathbed, I don't want that to be on the back of my mind that, hey, you never did a damn thing. That's crap, okay? That's crap, because I love this country, damn it. I love this country, all right? I love the American Constitution. We live on the greatest, freest society on the face of the universe, and we're seeing it transition into something that looks like quasi-Mao Zedong garbage. That's what we're seeing out here. And there's a whole bunch of problems related to the problems we're seeing right here in America. There's a lot of social problems that we discussed earlier in the program relating to liberalism and feminism. The public education system, this government-funded public education system that's dumbing down generation after generation. You got an economic landscape out here that's creating nothing but a bunch of poverty. I just don't understand why more people aren't talking about these goddamn subject matters. Oh man, let me calm down here. Let me take another drink and calm down. I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry. I know that, many people are listening to me and saying, hey, Ghost, maybe you need to just chill your ass down. But I can't do it, man. Let me lay down, okay? This is my shrink session. Whenever I lay down on my couch here, stare at the ceiling, and talk about subject matters that are on my mind, I just don't understand where our world's turning to, man. I mean, it's a crazy world out here, folks. And I'll acknowledge and I'll give the fact that we live in a crazy world, but does it really have to turn a tide here? I mean, oh, man. I mean, do we have to lose American sovereignty before people start waking up? Are we that stupid, folks? I mean, seriously. Are we that stupid? I mean, are we just sitting here, becoming, piss and crap factories for fast food joints and lab rats in front of boob tubes? And I mean, I don't know. And you can hear the frustration. I hope that y'all can hear the frustration, because you should be frustrated too, folks. You should be frustrated. I don't understand why I'm the only one screaming like, "Get them here out here, and nobody else will do about that!" Anyway, folks, sorry if I'm screaming, and I'm sorry if I'm blowing out your damn speakers out there. I'm sorry if you're around people that are looking at you cross-eyed saying, who in the blue hell are you listening to? But the bottom line is, folks, is that I love America. I refuse to just lie down and not do anything about it. I just want to do something about it. I want to save this country. I mean, that's all I want to do, folks. 646-652-4869. We got a little less under 10 minutes left. I wanted to tell y'all right first and foremost, folks, thank you for tuning in with me. I'm glad to finally have had a show without any kind of technical difficulties from the Blog Talk Radio Network. It seems to me that all they seem to do is continue on with nothing but a bunch of garbage with these technical difficulties that conveniently hit my show on a consistent basis. I'm sure if I was that fat, portly, jelly-ass, cottage cheese-ass, balding bastard, that Republican mouthpiece over here, Ed Morrissey, I bet you money that I wouldn't be having any kind of technical difficulties now, would I? Of course not. And folks, if by any means, if you ever have technical difficulties listening to this show again, please forward all your hate mail to the Blog Talk Radio Network, because they deserve it. And, there's somebody in the chat room saying that our country needs an intervention. And we do. I mean, I think that all we can do is attempt to facilitate debate and hope that subject matters resonate in people's brains, and hope that synapses spark in the psyche of America. I mean, that's all we can hope, because as far as a call to action, as far as, going out and trying to do something on a confrontational level, it ain't going to work. It isn't going to work. All right? I mean, what can we do? We can't do anything besides change our conscience, folks. All right? I mean, that's all we can do is change our conscience. We can't have any direct action. I mean, that ain't going to prove anything. On the contrary, if anybody tries to try any kind of direct confrontational approach to this subject matter, you're going to only infuriate the situation even worse. You're going to give fodder to these idiots that want to take away our rights. You're going to give them credibility that, hey, you see, we have an unstable society. We need to create martial law. We need to, have armed guards in the street. You know, we need to put, you know, some kind of dog collar around every American citizen to make sure they're not out of line. It's ridiculous, man. I don't know. Anyway, folks, we've got about a little over 5 minutes left. I wanted to thank, once again, you all listening in. I really appreciate your patronage. You folks are the only reason why I come back on the Blog Talk Radio Network. It's obviously not for the monetary value, and not that I would care. I just appreciate that there's people that listen and appreciate my commentary and hope that you talk about these subject matters, you know, with your friends, with your family, because they need to be talked about. The economy, the social landscape, you know, the infection of liberalism. I mean, all this needs to be discussed on a consistent basis, and if we don't discuss it, you know, we're just going to see the fall of our great society, of our freest society. We're going to see the Constitution, you know, being used for toilet paper by these power-hungry autocrats that run our government. You know? That's what's going to happen. And I'd like everybody to bookmark www.blogtalkradio.com/ghost. That's the home page. And, of course, I've got MySpace, too, folks. I've got MySpace, too. So if you got yourself a MySpace, add me as a friend, okay? MySpace.com/ghostpolitics. And that's all one word, no underscores, no spaces. And, you know, folks, I mean, all we can do is continue to facilitate discourse and debate and hope that enough people pay it forward that we can go ahead and do something about it. Yeah, I have a blog, too, conservativeghost.blogspot.com. Conservative Ghost, that's all one word, no underscores, no spaces. conservativeghost.blogspot.com. And, you know, I've always been real critical of the blogosphere because it's been a big method or a big avenue for propaganda for most folks. But I understand it is effective. So that's why I've participated in the whole blogosphere. But for the most part, I like to engage on an audio level because, I mean, you can hear people, and you can hear the legitimacy of folks through audio. I mean, you can tell if somebody has an ulterior motive when it comes to them discussing subject matters. You know, you can tell when somebody sounds uncertain about things, and they're not just pulling things out of their ass. And I hope that all of you folks that listen to me understand that no matter what I say, I do say it out of passion. I mean it. I mean what I say what I mean. And I don't want you all to agree with everything I say. This is America. We have the freedom of thought, folks. But all I'm asking you to do is take these subject matters, think about them critically, okay? And I know that critical thinking has been taken out of the American psyche via the public education system, but try to think about them critically and try to understand every perspective from that viewpoint. You know? Anyway, folks, we got about 2 minutes left, and before we go off the air, I wanted to leave y'all with this, okay? This is International Women's Day. We spent the first hour discussing the feminist question. And let me tell you something, folks, and I'll say it and I'll continue to say it. Feminism is rooted in communism, in authoritarian communism. Feminism has ruined the social landscape of not only America, but has ruined the social landscape of every westernized country in the world. Okay? And if you don't believe me, I want you to do your own damn research and take a look at how many people are divorced, okay, in every westernized country. And that's due to the feminist movement. The feminist movement equates women shitting out about 5 or 6 kids from 5 or 6 different fathers as woman liberation. They try to equate women having about 5 or 6, 7 different divorces as woman liberation. And this is what's creating the social ills as the social norms here in America, folks. And we just can't sit by and continue to let it happen. We can't do it. We just can't do it, folks. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end the show here, folks. It's been great. I appreciate everybody's patronage. I'm usually on every Monday through Friday, so I may skip a few days every now and then. But check me out every Monday through Friday between the hours of 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. Central Time. You can check me out live or in the archive. And if you're not doing anything, folks, late at night, by all means, check out the archive, blogtalkradio.com/ghost. We have a bunch of good times every single time we're on the air, and I appreciate your patronage, folks. And by the way, before I go, if you happen to know Gloria Steinem's email, that ridiculous, hairy, armpitted, bull-nosed, burning, bra bulldyke, please email her this show, because I can't stand that piece of crap, okay? I can't stand her. I hate her, and in my opinion, it's because of her our society has been flushed down the proverbial toilet. Anyway, folks, I thank you for your patronage. All right, God bless you. God bless America. Thank you for tuning in with me, and until next time, folks, I appreciate your patronage. Long live the conservative movement, folks, and death to feminism. And I'm out, folks.
Do you like turkey sandwiches? Then you'll love the new premium carb turkey and bacon sub at Subway restaurants. It's oven roasted just right, sliced thick just the way you like it. And just when you think it can't get any better, look out. It's got crispy bacon in there too. Order one today on your choice of freshly baked bread. Then select any veggies you want to make your premium carb turkey and bacon sub uniquely yours. It's a great sub for people who really like turkey. Subway, fresh is what we do.